On this short lesson, I want to say a few words about specific laws of Pesach that comes right after Shabbat. This happens once in a few years, and there are a few specific laws about what to do. So for one thing, of course, there is a problem with eating the third meal. Usually on Shabbat we eat 3 meals, right? 1 at night and 2 in the daytime, morning, afternoon, and then closer to the evening. That's the ideal for Shabbat. 3 meals, it's a great mitzvah. But on the Shabbat that falls right before Pesach, there is a difficulty. Difficulty is the following: that matzah is not allowed to be eaten until the actual Pesach Seder. Because, if you're going to eat matzah before Pesach, then what's so special about eating matzah on Pesach? The Jerusalem Talmud, Yerushalmi, compares it to a person who had relations with a woman before he actually married her. Interesting, right? In a sense, matzah is like a kala, like a betrothed woman. By the way, there is even a certain symmetry. There are 7 brachot that are recited for Chatan and Kala, for Kala mainly, for the bride. And similarly, there are 7 brachot that are recited before the matzah can be eaten. In a Seder, we recite actually 7 brachot, and then we can eat matzah. Whatever the case may be, so you cannot eat matzah the day before Pesach, and of course you cannot eat chametz starting 2 hours before midday. These are variable hours, it's more complex than that, but let's say it's about 10:30 or 11 in the morning, depending on the country and the area where you live. So from about relatively early morning on, you cannot eat any chametz. So what do you do? Well, first of all, most people are going to pray the coming Shabbat earlier than usual in the morning. Why? Because if you're going to pray the regular prayers and finish maybe 11 o'clock or 12 or whenever most people finish, especially by the time you get home, it's certainly going to be too late to eat any chametz. You'd have to destroy all chametz even before that. So you have to finish the prayers and come home and eat a morning meal, while it's still permitted to eat chametz. So the prayers would probably be 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, so that you could finish, come home, and quickly eat a meal with the remaining chametz, and then all the rest of chametz should be thrown in the bathroom, for instance, and flushed. Right? All the chametz should be destroyed before the needed hour. All of that is in the calendar, whatever is the hour. So what do we do? Before the Shabbat, we leave enough food in order to eat both the evening meal, chametz, and then the morning meal, again chametz. And don't leave too much, because you don't want to clog your toilet. So basically, you leave just enough so that you'll be able to eat those 2 meals. And since people already prepared for Pesach, they usually cleaned everything and they kashered everything, so they try to eat the actual bread somewhere else, like maybe above a plastic bag or something, maybe in a different room, or if they have a kind of house where they could go outside, or basement or something like that. They basically gather in a different place, eat the actual bread so that the crumbs are not going to get to the place which is clean for Pesach. And then whatever will be left after the morning meal will be thrown, like I said, in the bathroom and flushed. So what do you do about the third meal then? Some people say that therefore you cannot really fulfill the third meal. But the truth is there is a dispute what you have to eat during the third meal. Some people say you don't have to eat bread. So therefore there is a possibility to eat maybe some fish or some meat or some fruits. Another option is for Sephardim, and some Ashkenazim permitted too, is what's called matzah ashira. Matzah ashira is a matzah that's made using apple juice or something like that, other liquids rather than water. This matzah is not for the Seder. You cannot fulfill the mitzvah with it, because the Torah calls the matzah of the Seder lechem oni, the bread of poverty, poor man's bread. And this is not a poor man's bread if it's on apple juice or on eggs or something like that. It tastes more like a cookie than like bread. So since you cannot fulfill the mitzvah at night with it, therefore you're allowed to eat it in the afternoon. The problem is that Ashkenazi Jews generally don't eat this type of matzah on Pesach at all, because there is a question if it can become chametz faster if there is other liquids instead of water in it. But Sephardim allow this. And some Ashkenazim say that before Pesach you're allowed to eat matzah ashira, especially in order to fulfill the mitzvah of the third meal. So some people were going to be eating matzah ashira And some people will be eating maybe meat or fish or something like that. There's also a third option that the Vilna Gaon seem to agree with, but that's the hardest one to practically do. And that is, ideally the third meal has to be in the second half of the day. But maybe you could fulfill to an extent the mitzvah even if you eat it in the first half of the day. So what if you split the morning meal? Meaning you come home, let's say early. If you pray early enough, you can come home maybe 9 o'clock in the morning. And then have a quick meal with some bread. And then rest a little bit. And then have another quick meal with another piece of bread. So this way you basically have the third meal before even the prohibition of chametz comes into place. Before 10:30 or 11 or whatever it is in the morning. I think it's not really 11 unless maybe very few places in the world where it's 11, more like 10:30 probably, around 10:30. So can you have the time to eat 2 bread meals and not exactly in a row with some time between them, all after praying in the morning and before even 10:30 in the morning? I think it's very difficult, but those who can, they can rely on that opinion as well. And if you like this video, please press like and please subscribe to our channel.